The spaceship cafeteria was full, loud voices, clinking trays, and smells of strange alien food. Then everything went silent. She walked in. An alien girl with silver blue skin, glowing eyes, and a scent that made everyone turn away. One soldier whispered, "Ugh, it's her again." Another covered his nose. No one sat near her. No one spoke to her. Except one human. Dane, a quiet engineer sitting alone, didn't move. Instead, he leaned forward and breathed in deeply. His eyes widened. His hands shook. He stood up slowly, walked toward her, and said in a soft voice, "You smell like my past." The alien girl blinked. Everyone stared, and in that moment, something changed. The cafeteria on the space station was always noisy. At lunchtime, people from different planets sat together. Trays clicked, spoons scraped bowls, and everyone talked in different languages. But today, everything changed when she walked in. She was not tall, but she moved with quiet grace. Her skin had a soft silver blue glow, and her eyes shimmered like stars. She looked calm, peaceful. But as soon as she stepped inside, the mood shifted. One by one, heads turned, people stopped eating. A group of cadets whispered and pushed their trays away. A pilot covered his nose and made a face. Some even stood up and changed seats. No one said it out loud, but everyone knew the reason. They didn't like how she smelled. There was something different about her scent. Not bad, not rotten, just a strange, like wild flowers growing in metal soil. Sweet and sharp at the same time. Too different to understand, too different to accept. She didn't react. She just walked slowly to the corner table. Her tray was simple, just some water and soft green food. She sat alone, like always. Her name was Valari. No one really knew where she came from. She didn't talk much. She didn't cause trouble. But still, people stayed away. Her scent made them uncomfortable. Some said it gave them headaches. Others said it reminded them of cold air from dead planets. No one wanted to be near her. Except one human. Dane sat at a table not far from her. He was a mechanic, dressed in gray overalls. His hands were always stained with machine oil, and he didn't talk much either. He was used to being invisible. But when Valari walked in that day, Dane didn't look away. He didn't cover his nose or shift in his seat. He stared. Not in a rude way, but like someone who had just seen something important. His spoon froze halfway to his mouth. His eyes locked on her. Then, he slowly put the spoon down. His hands trembled a little. His heart felt strange, not fast, not scared, just full. He stood up. Slowly, people nearby noticed. Some watched with curious eyes. A few whispered. Why was a human walking toward her? Valari noticed too. She looked up, expecting the usual cold words. But Dane didn't speak right away. He stood beside her table, then sat down across from her. She blinked. No one had ever done that. For a moment, neither of them said anything. Then Dane leaned forward. His voice was low, careful, like someone remembering something from long ago. "You smell like my past," he said. Valari didn't move. Her eyes studied his face. He looked serious, honest, not joking. "My past," Dane repeated. "From Earth, before everything changed." Valari's lips parted, just slightly. Her voice was quiet when she replied. "That's not possible. It is," Dane said softly. "I remember the scent. I was young. My mother had a lab garden. She used to grow flowers that only bloomed once a year. The smell, it was always in the air during summer. It meant peace. It meant home." Valari looked down at her tray. She touched the edge with her fingers. No one else ever said anything. "Like that," she whispered. "They only call it strange." "It's not strange to me," Dane said. "It's familiar. It's warm." Round them, the cafeteria stayed quiet. People kept glancing their way, unsure of what was happening. A few frowned. Some looked confused. Valari slowly looked back at Dane. Her expression was soft now, still guarded but less alone. "You're not afraid?" she asked. Dane shook his head. "No, just surprised. It's like something old woke up inside me." Valari gave a tiny smile. "You're the first one who didn't turn away." Dane nodded. "Maybe that means something." The rest of lunch passed slowly. They didn't talk much after that, but they didn't need to. Something unspoken hung in the air between them like a memory that had no words, only feeling. When Valari stood to leave, Dane stood too. She looked at him once more before walking away. He watched her go, his mind full of questions. How could an alien girl from a far planet smell like something from Earth? Why did her scent bring back a feeling he thought was lost forever? And most of all, who was she really? Dane didn't have the answers yet. But deep inside, he knew this wasn't the end of the story. It was just the beginning. Dane couldn't stop thinking about her. Even hours after lunch, the memory of that scent stayed with him. It wasn't just about smell, it was about something deeper. That strange, sweet metallic scent had touched a part of him he didn't know was still alive. He returned to his small repair station near the lower decks. The sound of humming engines filled the room. Sparks jumped from loose wires as he worked, but his focus was somewhere else. Every few minutes, he paused, staring off into space like he was remembering something long lost. He hadn't thought of his mother's garden in years. The scent from Valari was almost the same, so close it made his chest feel heavy. Not in a bad way, in a way that made him feel human again. Later that evening, Dane walked the halls of the space station. The lights were dim, and the corridors were quiet. He wasn't looking for her, but somehow, he found her again. She was standing near the observation window, alone, looking out at the stars. Her long silver hair caught the soft light, and her hands were folded in front of her. Dane stopped a few steps away, unsure if he should speak. But Valari turned before he said anything. "You followed me?" she asked gently. He shook his head. "No, just ended up here." She didn't seem bothered. Instead, she stepped aside and nodded for him to join her. He moved next to her and looked out at the stars too. The silence between them was quiet, not uncomfortable. After a long pause, Valari spoke. "My scent. It's not normal." Dane looked at her. "I didn't think it was." She nodded slowly. "It was made. Not by nature. It was designed." Dane felt something shift inside him. "What do you mean?" She hesitated before answering. "I was born on a science station, not a planet. They called me part of the Echo line. I don't know much. They didn't let us learn much, but they said my body carries memory from somewhere else, from Earth." Dane asked softly. She looked at him carefully. "Maybe. I don't know what Earth smelled like, but when you said I reminded you of your past, it felt true." Dane's mind started racing. "Who were they? The ones who made you?" Valari looked away. "I can't say much. I was taken from that station when I was very young. The people who brought me here warned me never to speak about my origin. They said others would fear me." "Why? Fear you?" Dane asked. She hesitated. "Because my scent can unlock memories." Dane blinked. "What?" "Not always," Valari said. "But sometimes when someone smells it, they remember things they forgot, things that were buried." Dane leaned back, staring at her in surprise. "So that's why I remembered the garden." She nodded. "Yes, and maybe more will come." Dane was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Why you? Why build someone like that?" Valari's voice was soft. "I don't know, but I think they wanted to hold on to something that was lost. Maybe someone wanted to make sure memories didn't disappear forever." He looked at her carefully. "And now you're here, alone." "Yes," she replied. "Always alone. Because no one wants to be near me." "I do," Dane said without thinking. Valari's eyes met his, filled with something between surprise and hope. "I mean it," Dane added. "If you carry memories, then maybe you carry answers too. And I think I need those." Valari didn't reply at first. Then she said something he didn't expect. "Someone once told me, if I ever met someone who remembered me without fear, I should trust them." Dane looked at her with quiet determination. "Then maybe this is where the real story begins." Valari turned back toward the stars, but this time, she wasn't alone. And somewhere deep in the station, unknown to both of them, quiet sensors activated. A silent signal was sent out into the void, triggered by the match between human memory and alien scent. Something, or someone, now knew they had connected, and that meant change was coming. The next morning, Dane woke up feeling different. Not in a strange way, but like something inside him had started moving again. Like a door had opened just a little, and behind it, there were things waiting to be remembered. He hadn't slept much. His dreams were filled with soft green fields, summer air, and the faint laughter of someone he could almost recognize. He got dressed quickly and skipped breakfast. His hands were steady, but his mind was filled with questions. He needed answers not just about Valari, but about himself, about why her scent could stir memories he thought were lost forever. He found her in the archives room. She was standing near the old data terminals, her hands floating over the screen, searching for something. The room was quiet, filled with the hum of machines and soft light from the floor panels. Dane stepped inside carefully. She noticed him right away but didn't seem surprised. "I thought you might come," she said softly. "I had to," he replied. "I can't stop thinking about what you said, about memory, about your scent." Valari stepped aside and showed him the screen. "I've been trying to access some of the old DNA logs from Earth science vessels. The files are locked, but your ID might open them." Dane raised an eyebrow. "Why mine?" Valari hesitated. "Because I think your mother was one of the scientists who worked on the Echo line." Dane froze. "My mother disappeared during the final war," he said. "They told me she died on a moon base." Valari nodded. That moon base was actually a hidden lab, one of the last places where human scientists tried to preserve Earth's biological memory. They called it the Memory Seed Project. Dane stared at her. The name didn't mean anything to him, but something about it felt familiar. "She left something behind," Valari continued. "I believe it's inside me." Dane slowly sat down. His heart beat a little faster, not from fear, but from something deeper, hope mixed with confusion. "How do you know this?" he asked. Valari looked at the terminal. "Because a fragment of her voice is part of my memory field. I hear it sometimes in dreams. It says, if you ever find the one who smells like home, protect him. He carries the rest." Dane didn't know what to say. The air felt heavy around them, not in a bad way, but like something important was about to be uncovered. "Play it," he said quietly. "If it's there, I need to hear it." Valari touched the panel. The screen blinked. A faint static sound filled the room. Then a woman's voice came through, soft, warm, and tired. "This is Dr. Elira Hensley. If this message reaches anyone, then part of the project has survived. We couldn't save Earth, but we tried to save what made it beautiful. We placed memories inside living carriers, plants, scents, sounds. If you're hearing this, it means the link worked. Follow the scent. Follow the memory." The message ended. Silence returned. Dane sat still. That voice, he knew it. He remembered it reading him bedtime stories, telling him everything would be okay. And now, years later, it had found its way back through someone else's breath. He looked at Valari. "You're carrying part of Earth's soul." Valari nodded. "And now maybe you're the key to the rest." Just then, a low beep echoed. Through the terminal, a second file appeared. This one was marked with a red code and titled, Project Echo, Last Link. Dane tried to open it, but the screen flashed a message, security clearance required. Hensley bloodline only. He blinked. "Bloodline? You mean?" Valari placed her hand on the scanner. "You need to try. It's asking for you." Dane stepped forward. The scanner lit up as he pressed his palm against it. A moment passed. Then, a soft green light blinked 3 times, and the file opened. A hologram appeared. It showed a map not of space, but of something older, a deep vault inside a hidden asteroid lab, one of the last storage places of human memory before the evacuation of Earth. Dane and Valari looked at each other. "This is where it begins," Valari said. Dane nodded. "No, this is where it continues." Neither of them noticed the small blinking dot. On the screen's edge, a signal being tracked by someone else, far away. But that didn't matter yet. For now, the only thing that mattered was this: 2 lives, 1 scent, and a memory too strong to be forgotten. The map stayed glowing on the screen for a long time. Neither Dane nor Valari moved. It felt like time itself had slowed. The image showed more than just a location. It showed a forgotten path, a path that someone had hidden long ago, hoping one day it would be found. Dane leaned closer, trying to understand the symbols on the map. There were coordinates, an orbit path, and strange icons, some of them shaped like seeds. others like memory chips. But in the center of the map was something else, a small mark with the word Core Echo. Valari gently touched the word on the screen. That's what they were searching for, the Core Echo, the place where the first memory was planted. Dane looked at her. Planted, like a seed. She nodded. Not a real seed, a memory seed. Your mother and others believed that memories could live in more than just data. They believed some memories were too important to lose, so they created the echo line to carry those memories in living forms. In people like you, Dane whispered. Valari didn't reply. She didn't need to. Her silence was full of meaning. They copied the map to a small data chip and left the archive room quietly. Outside, the station felt the same, busy, loud, normal. But to them, everything had changed. They were now part of something bigger than themselves. Back in Dane's quarters, they sat across from each other, looking at the map again on a smaller screen. Valari explained more about her time in the lab, what little she remembered. She was very young then, but sometimes her dreams gave her pieces of the past, pieces that didn't feel like hers, but still lived inside her. There was a woman, Valari said slowly. She used to sing to me. Her voice was warm. I never saw her face, but I think it was your mother. Dane's eyes softened. She used to sing to me too, that same voice. I remember now. Valari's hands rested gently in her lap. I think she wanted us to meet. Dane nodded. She built you to carry something forward. But maybe I was meant to find you, to finish it. They sat in silence for a while, both deep in thought. But then the ship's lights flickered. Just once. It was barely noticeable. But both of them looked up at the same time. That's not normal, Dane said. Valari stood slowly. We're being watched. Dane moved to his small console. The system was stable, no alerts. But then he checked a side panel. One of the background signals, usually quiet, was now active. A silent transmission had gone out. It wasn't sent by them. Someone saw the file open, Dane said. And now they know we have it. Valari's eyes narrowed, not in fear, but in quiet concern. They'll try to stop us. Dane took a breath. Then we need to move. Fast. They went to the docking bay and checked available ships. Most were busy or locked. But there was one small scout vessel, just enough for the people. Dane had worked on it before. It wasn't fast, but it was quiet. As they prepared the ship, Valari paused beside the entrance. Before we go, she said, I want you to know something. Dane looked back. My scent, she said, wasn't just made from Earth. It was made from the memory of someone your mother lost. A child. A baby. Dane froze. She named her Lyra. Valari continued. I think I carry her memory too. Dane stepped closer. You mean you carry my sister's memory? Valari nodded gently. Not her life, but a part of it. A part your mother didn't want to lose. Dane stared at her, his heart full of quiet emotion. That's why it felt so familiar. That's why it felt like home. Valari smiled softly. Maybe that's what the scent is. Not just memory, but connection. They boarded the scout ship, and the doors closed behind them with a soft hiss. The engines hummed to life, and the station slowly shrank behind them as they drifted into space. In the silence, Dane looked out the window, then at Valari. We're not just chasing a map, he said. We're following something that was planted in both of us. Valari nodded. And whatever waits at the Core Echo, it was meant for us. The stars stretched ahead of them, quiet and endless. But now, they weren't just two people. They were a connection between past and future. And far ahead, deep within a forgotten asteroid field, the memory they were searching for waited patiently, still alive, still glowing, still echoing. The journey to the asteroid field was quiet, but heavy with thought. Neither Dane nor Valari spoke much during the first few hours. The stars outside the ship moved slowly, like glowing dust floating in deep water. But inside the ship, their thoughts moved much faster. Dane sat near the navigation panel, watching the scanner. The route was clear, but something didn't sit right in his mind. He kept thinking about the voice in the message, his mother's voice. It didn't sound afraid, it sounded determined. She had given everything to protect something important. And now that something was in Valari, and maybe in him too. Valari sat across from him. Her eyes closed, but she wasn't sleeping. She was remembering, not her own memories, but the strange, soft images that lived inside her. Gardens, laughter, a lullaby, a woman's voice saying, "Don't forget the scent of peace." She didn't know if those memories truly belonged to her, or if they were only echoes. Suddenly, a soft beep came from the console. Dane leaned forward. "We're entering the edge of the asteroid belt," he said. "The core echo is supposed to be hidden in here." Valari stood up and moved beside him. On the screen, dozens of rocks floated in space, slow and silent. Some were small like pebbles, others as big as buildings. In the middle of them, one asteroid had a faint glow around it. It wasn't bright, but it pulsed softly like a heartbeat. "That one," she said quietly. "It's calling us." Dane piloted the ship carefully, guiding it between the drifting stones. It felt like flying through an ancient graveyard. Everything was still. Time seemed to pause. As they neared the glowing asteroid, a strange feeling washed over both of them. Not fear, not sadness, something like recognition. Like walking into a room they had seen before in a dream. The ship landed gently on a flat surface. They stepped outside in light suits. The surface was dusty and gray, but the air around them felt warm, not by temperature, but by feeling, like a soft blanket wrapped around a memory. They walked slowly toward the center. There, half buried in the rock, was a metal door, old, rusted, but still intact. Valari touched it, and the door responded. A small light blinked, then it opened with a slow hiss, revealing a short tunnel with smooth walls and quiet lights. "This place is alive," Dane whispered. Asterisk. They moved inside. The tunnel led to a large round chamber, filled with glowing crystals and thin wires that seemed to grow like vines. In the center stood a tall structure, part machine, part plant. At its base was a round platform. Valari stepped onto the platform without hesitation. The moment she did, the crystals lit up brighter. The chamber came to life. A soft voice filled the room. "Welcome, Echo Bearer." Dane looked around, unsure who or what was speaking. Valari stood still, eyes wide. The voice continued. "Memory confirmed, link detected, preparing retrieval." Then something amazing happened. A thin beam of light stretched from the center of the machine toward Valari's chest. It didn't hurt. It felt gentle. The scent in the air changed richer, deeper. It smelled like wild earth after rain. Dane felt something stir deep inside him. A wave of memories rushed forward. His childhood, the sound of his mother's laugh, the sunlight through the trees of their old garden. He didn't know where it all came from, but he knew it was real. Valari's voice was calm. "It's not just mine. The memories, they were waiting for you too." He stepped closer. "What does it mean?" The voice in the room spoke again. "Final phase unlocked. Shared memory path complete." From the platform, a second beam of light reached Dane. It didn't touch him physically, but he felt it in his heart. And then, the machine spoke with a familiar voice. It was his mother again. "Dane, if you're hearing this, it means you found her. That means hope is still alive. I knew one day you would come." Valari is not just carrying the past, she is carrying the key to the future. Valari looked at him. "She planned all this." Dane nodded, his voice low. "She didn't just want to save the past. She wanted to plant it again." The chamber lights pulsed softly. The walls glowed with living memory. And deep within the platform, something unlocked, a seed, wrapped in crystal, slowly rising from the floor. Valari reached out and gently held it in her hands. "This," she whispered, "is the first Earth memory seed." Dane stepped beside her, watching the small object glow like the heart of a star. He didn't know what they would do next, or who might come looking for them. But he knew this much: what they were holding was not just history. It was a beginning. The seed pulsed gently in Valari's hands, as if it was breathing. It was small, no bigger than a closed fist, wrapped in layers of crystal and light. But the feeling it gave off was unlike anything Dane had ever felt. It was warm, familiar, and powerful, not because it had energy, but because it had meaning. It carried something deeper than data or memory. It carried emotion. They stood in the center of the glowing chamber, surrounded by the soft humming of the machine that had waited quietly for so many years. Dane stared at the seed, and in his heart, something shifted. He didn't know how. but he could feel parts of himself returning, old memories becoming clearer. The way his mother smelled after working in her garden, the quiet songs she hummed, the stories she told him about a world full of beauty, kindness, and life, a world he thought was gone forever. Valari looked at him, her silver blue eyes glowing softly in the light. "It's not just a seed," she said. "It's a memory waiting to grow again." Dane nodded slowly. "Then we need to protect it." But before he could say more, the platform beneath them began to glow brighter. The voice returned, calm, steady, and familiar. "Final step. Initiated. Echo seed prepared. Exit the chamber to complete preservation transfer." They turned as the door behind them opened slowly. But something felt different. The air was heavier now, and the soft hum had a new tone, almost like a warning. Valari stepped off the platform first. The seed in her hands responded, glowing slightly more with each step. Dane followed, still unsure what the final message had meant. Outside the chamber, the tunnel lights flickered again. Dane paused. "Did you feel that?" Valari nodded. "We're not alone." They moved quickly through the passage, returning to the surface of the asteroid. The sky above was still filled with the soft light of distant stars. Their ship waited, calm and quiet, but as they approached, the ship's exterior lights were flashing slowly, a signal Dane knew too well. It was a system alert, a warning left behind by the ship's sensors. Someone had followed them. Dane moved to the side panel and checked the logs. A nearby craft had entered the asteroid field only minutes after they landed. It hadn't sent a signal. It hadn't called for permission. It was silent, and it was close. Valari didn't panic. She simply held the seed closer to her chest. "They want this," she said softly. Dane looked at her. "But they don't understand it." She nodded. "They think it's just technology, a weapon maybe, but it's more than that." Dane opened the ship's doors, and they stepped inside. He started the launch sequence, but something unusual happened. The navigation screen lit up with a new message: coordinates, sent from the core Echo machine itself. Valari stepped closer. "It's showing us where to take the seed." "Another place?" Dane asked. Valari nodded slowly. "A place where it can grow, where it can become what it was always meant to be." Dane tapped the controls, and the ship began to lift from the asteroid's surface. Behind them, the core Echo platform dimmed slowly, as if it had finished its job. Its light faded like a star at rest. As they left the asteroid belt, Dane glanced at the sensors. The unknown ship was still there, following from a distance, never too close, never too far. But he didn't feel fear. He felt something else: purpose. He turned to Valari. "Do you trust where this is leading?" She looked at the glowing seed in her hands. "Yes, because this isn't about what was lost. It's about what comes next." Hours passed as the ship moved through open space. The new coordinates led them to a quiet green moon, untouched and hidden inside a nebula cloud. As they approached, Dane could see the land below: soft hills, blue rivers, and trees that moved gently in the wind. It looked like Earth. Before it changed, they landed quietly, stepping out into the fresh air. It smelled rich and alive, and as Valari stepped onto the soft grass, the seed pulsed brighter. She walked to the center of a small field and knelt down. "This is the place," she said. Dane stood beside her. "Are you sure?" She nodded, then carefully placed the seed into the soil. The moment it touched the ground, the air shimmered. A soft ring of light spread out from where it was planted. The scent in the air changed, full of Earth's memory, full of warmth. They stood in silence. Nothing exploded, nothing cracked open. But something had begun. The seed didn't need attention. It didn't need control. It only needed to be remembered, to be accepted. And in that moment, Valari and Dane both knew they hadn't just recovered the past. They had given it a chance to grow again. A new chapter had started, one that didn't need to be rushed or explained. It only needed time, care, and people who still believed in what was once good. The stars above watched silently as two souls stood in a quiet field, holding onto something rare in the galaxy. Hope.